Are you starting
Okay.
to?
It's okay.
Okay. As you actually finish your turn, you always return your hand at back at 9-3, and with both hands, the fingers go loose, but the hand has a slight grip with the palm. Once you do this, the steering wheel will slide itself straight. As long as you loosen up once, twice, up to 3 times if needed. At the same time, I want you to go to the gas pedal and press 1.5. It has to be done at the same time. You cannot just accelerate 1.5 and grab it, because if you do that, it will actually go into the curb on the other side. If you only loosen up, the car will go towards the curb if you don't accelerate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what I like you to do, William. I like you to hold the steering wheel and pretend you're entering a curve. Speed, we're slowing down, so you're going to brake a little bit. Okay, our speed is okay now. You're going to start coasting. Now you're going to check your mirror to see if there's a car behind. No cars in front. We're approaching the curve. We're right at the curve at point A, quarter left. That's it. At point B, you hold the steering wheel. At point B, you're going to start hand over hand. So bottom hand, yes, push it and grab it. Yep. Take the other hand off and continue steering. And this hand doesn't go here. No, it doesn't go there. You have to turn it a little bit more, and that's it. Now that both hands are at 9-3, you loosen up. Can you have the steering wheel face me now? Face me. And I want you to have both of your hands loosen up a little, and it will straighten up itself. But you have to give it gas at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that is hand over hand. So once you finish a turn, make sure you look at the other side, speed up and loosen up. That's correct. And that's it. That's exactly how much steering you need.
3/4.
3/4. All right, you ready for the next part?
Yep.
So the next one is a very similar situation. The only difference is this particular road, you have the option to go straight, option to go left, and option to go right. So we cannot just turn without signaling. So we definitely need to apply a couple more steps before completing this turn. So mirror, we're looking in this rear view mirror. Signal to left. We're letting others know that we're signaling to left. And anytime you signal, it's always to the left, then you always check the left blind spot. That's before you start slowing down. Now in this case, we do not stop on the curve. And I forgot to mention something here. All curves and left turns, unless you have to stop, should be between 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. As you are slowing down, and let's assume that there's no car at this point, then we drop our speed down to 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, which is right about there. Do you see it? That is the speed we want. At the same time, as we slow down, you need to look left, center, right, left. That's called scan. Yield to traffic and yield to pedestrians. That's the law. If there's nothing there, we could turn. But if there is any car, we will have to make sure that the car is at least 1, 2, 3 lampposts away. If they're within 3, we stop over here after point A. If they're farther than 3 lampposts, then we'll just continue the turn without stopping at 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. Same process. Quarter left from A. Hold it for about half a second. We get to B, hand over hand between B and C. When we get to C, scan ahead, speed up, loosen up as to where you want to go. Isn't it the same right after point B? The procedure is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the only difference. If you had a car less than 3 lampposts or pedestrians crossing, you would stop right after A, where this area is, and keep the car's wheels and steering wheel straight. Now the next intersection is very similar. It's still a left turn, but there's a difference. You have a stop sign, and it does not matter if it's a regular or always stop sign. It's to be treated the same. Mirror signal blind spot on approach. So we do it before braking. The only difference here is because there's a stop sign, we have to stop completely where the speed has to be 0 and you feel a pullback. Then we start scanning left, center, right, left to make sure that way is clear and yield to pedestrians on either this side or this side if needed. If we're the first to stop, we're the first to go. If we're the second to stop, we're the second to go. If there's any other situations that's not within that, I will help you for the time being. I don't want to make it too complicated for you. Right? If it's safe and you have to stop for more than 3 seconds, make sure you check your left blind spot again. So in other words, if you have to stop, it's 2 blind spots. One on approach and one before starting the turn. Then we start the same process. The only difference is because our speed is 0, we go to 1.5 and complete quarter left between A and B. But once we get to B, we do not give it more gas. We just let the car coast on its own, and from B, hand over hand, at point C, scan ahead, and then speed up, loosen up, same as before. So in other words, we speed up twice over here. Once to start the turn, once to complete the turn. Okay, did that make a little bit more sense to you?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I'm going to ask you a few questions on each page just to make sure you get it. All right, William, as we approach the curve here, our car is straight. What speed do we want to enter the curve at? Is it between 20 to 25 kilometers per hour, or is it 15 to 20 kilometers per hour?
15 to 20.
That's correct. When we start our curve and we're at point A, do we hold it quarter left for about half a second, or do we continue with
Hold it for half a second.
hold it for about half a second and then hand over hand?
Yeah.
Because if you do start hand over hand immediately, you will end up in the middle, if not into the oncoming path. When we get to point B, we start the hand over hand steering. When we get to point C, do we let go of the steering wheel, or do we just loosen up the
Loosen
steering
up.
wheel? Do we give it gas at the same time, 1.5 or 2.5?
1.5.
That's correct. Alright, let's go to the next page. When we approach the intersection, and there's no stop sign here, we have cross direction with 2 cars. Do we need to stop and yield, or do we have the right of way?
We have the right of way.
That's correct. We have the right of way because we don't have a stop sign. Now, upon approaching point A, do we apply mirror signal blind spot before we brake or after we brake?
Before we break.
Before we brake, to let others know our intention of turning left. Now, if there's a pedestrian that's crossing and they're in the middle, should we wait here, or should we start waiting in the middle of the turn?
Wait before point B.
Wait right after point A.
Right
But
after
keep the car
point A.
straight. All right. Now, once they've gone, we start quarter left.